Hello, my name is Sarah Brightman and I'm talking to you on Blikk TV. At the end of the day, Christmas always means friends and family. It's incredibly important. We're very traditional about it. We actually start really working towards it once Easter has happened. So little preparations in food and what we're going to do and menus and blah, blah. Yes, myself and my brother do it. Even if I'm in China or wherever I am, we're online sort of deciding things. And it's just a series of, you know, going to church and also lots of feasts and really lovely build up to it. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful time for us. Yes. I love Silent Night. That's one of my favourites, but that's a very simple but evergreen piece. Yes. But there are so many, and this is when I was choosing Christmas music, or the parts of this concert which are Christmas music, it's actually very difficult and it's more work than anything because there's so much repertoire. Yes. So choosing what is and selecting what is going to be good for all types of people in that audience, because I found in these Christmas shows that I do, or these seasonal shows, I do them all over the world, and it's very interesting. Everybody has a different expectation of a concert at this time of year, and there's quite a lot of pressure for the artist because you're actually having to fulfill all these different emotions for people. And of course sometimes Christmas isn't a great time for people, but they just want to sit with beautiful music. So I do have a couple of songs in there that reflect that, you know, emotions that might not be so good, because it brings a human being, it opens up their emotions to things that maybe they're not so happy about. So I've got songs in there that reflect that. I've also got fun party seasonal songs. I've got great Christmas hymns. I've got a mixture of everything, but it's a very joyous but emotional concert. People love it. It's a great city. I mean, you know, especially having the two sides, the Buda and the Pest in there, is a really interesting. The food is lovely, and we always come over and we want the usual things like the goulash and the blah, blah. That's all part of it. But of course, it goes much further than that. And the history of it is really interesting. And I always find it so fascinating that it is so really near a place like Vienna, which is so different. It's a beautiful place to come, and I've always enjoyed performing there and feel very supported by the fans that I have there.
Have you ever worked with Hungarian artists?
I haven't. I bet that would be very emotional actually to do that, yes.
How do you try to not burn out and stay your best self at every night? What's the trick for that?
It really is about the training, the singing training, and the acting training, and understanding how to use your voice in the most, or your vocal cords in the most efficient way that doesn't harm them. And that is very complex, and I work for hours on it with teachers and coaches and things like that. And it's probably why I'm still singing at the age that I am and go all over the world performing, is because I do the work. And there's a whole load of stuff. It's not like you get up and sing a song. There's so much that goes on behind it. First thing I do is go back into class. I have 2 days off, and then I go back into class.
How many hours do you practice daily?
I would say when I'm with the coaches, we generally never do longer than 2.5 hours, but it's generally 2 hours. And then if I'm at home or somewhere away from my coach, I do it online. Thank God. I mean, we never thought that we could do this kind of thing.
It was a surprise for me, actually, is the space journey. Why? So what was the motivation when you decided to do this whole?
That we decide to do in our lives, that we really throw ourselves into. It's a sort of passion and an understanding that you might be right for doing it. It's like, why do you suddenly become a singer, or why do you become a gardener? It's because you know that there's something inside you which tells you that you should be doing this. And actually, I mean, from what I'm told from the Russians and NASA and everything, I was actually a perfect candidate for it. Physically, mentally. I mean, I gave up math when I was 14, but that wasn't important because I was able to work everything out in a different kind of way for space. So, and I did better than anybody in my exams when I was in Russia, and it was an amazing experience. And I wish everybody could have an experience like that, because your brain power is pushed further than you can even imagine. And then you realise there are all sorts of parts of your brain that we're not using in everyday life, even when we're working hard or whatever we do. And that was what it opened up for me, the possibility that you can really do amazing things.
Is there any skills you learned there that you use also nowadays?
Well, I found actually there were huge similarities between doing space travel and actually having been a physical performer. I think what people don't realise with people that do plays, or especially musicals, is that you need razor sharp perception and focus to be able to manage every moment of a character on stage. There's not a millisecond that you can let go of focus. And actually, I remember when I went into the space training thing and was in the simulators and doing all the things and dealing with all the emergency things, is that they're the same. And in an emergency situation, for example, in a musical, when maybe you forget a line or something happens on the stage, you could be in danger, everything. It was a similar focus that you would have for that. So it's kind of, I was sort of trained for it in a funny sort of way.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking about musicals and plays, you're the original Christine. Do you follow the international productions of Phantom of the Opera?
I was only in the musical in England for 6 months and in New York for 5 months of my life. So it's not really all-encompassing piece for me. It was a part of my life back in that time. But I think because it's such an evergreen, it's such a classic piece of theatre, and I was the original, and actually the muse,
yes,
the reason for it being made,
yeah.
it kind of sits alongside my whole career. And I go, oh, but that's great. I feel very grateful for that, and it's a wonderful thing to have. I see the different Christines when, for example, I'm taking a niece to go and see it for the first time, or I happen to be asked for an event that happens around it, so I see the musical that day. And what I do know about the part is that what's beautiful about it is that you see a sort of fusion of the artist that's playing it and actually what I originally set. Because I'd find them doing an arm movement, which I originally set, and thinking, oh, that's interesting. They've carried through the whole choreography of my body even, and my eye movements and everything, but they bring their own thing to it. And I find that very interesting. Always you have to do it yourself. But the thing is, nowadays, you know, the people that find the artists to do this, they're very clever. It's a bit like when you're finding an actress or an actor for a movie. So almost those people are made for the role when they're brought into it.
You sing in many languages. Which is actually the hardest one to sing on?
I think probably Czech.
Really?
I can't sing in Czech. I tried, but you're not necessarily natural for everything in the way that you talk and your form in your mouth and all of those things. So yes, that's probably the most difficult.
Which your biggest achievement is?
Probably my greatest achievement is that, and my mother always tells me that I'm pretty down to earth. I don't let the drama that happens in the life of a performer actually affect me when I'm in my normal life. And I have a dog, I have a boyfriend, I have my parents, I have my sisters and brothers, and it's a very ordinary life. And that's my achievement, because I think it's very easy for, especially an international performer under a lot of pressure, for that to sink into their psyche. Yes. So that's one of the most important things if you want a long career.
And you have.
I have. I'm still going. I'm talking to you. Lucky. Am I so lucky?